Okay.
Hey, it's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock ish. And welcome back.
That's about right.
Because every Wednesday, about 8 o'clock, we're here. And we have a great guest tonight. We have live from Cairo, Dr. Khalid. And we're going to introduce him in person in a second. But I just wanted you guys to know, since we're streaming on YouTube, we have a new RQX channel that will get populated and we'll be streaming to. You guys want to go look for it. Do that, please. It's RQX KJ, because you can't believe this, but in the weird world of Archeo, there is someone actually who has that actually that is their first and last name, RKEOX. It is their name.
It's not.
For real. It's their actual
It's not.
Yes.
It can't be.
When I show it to you, you won't believe it, but they've had it for like 4 years.
It can't be.
Yeah, it's real.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, so there is an RKEOX. Don't go there. Oh, they might be a nice person. Just go to RKEOX KJ, and we will be there. But we are on Not Aliens right now. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We are streaming live on RQX.com. Why? Because we suspect that it would be a free platform for freedom of speech. And please join us on RQX.com. You can go to the podcast page or look on the main page and actually stream the show from RQX.com. I think that's important information. Also, we're going to Belize at the end of May.
Mm-hmm. We are. We're going to Belize at the end of May. We leave May 30th. We come back June 8th. So it's going to be 10 days, 9 nights. We're going to visit ruins. We're going to do cave tours. It's going to be an adventure.
We have people signed up. We have it's a lot of exciting stuff going on. And Dr. Khalid, what we're going to get to is an expert in Egyptology. We're going to talk about the Book of the Dead. We're going to talk about some other things. It's all coming up right now. It also includes a little bit of info about the fact that we are going to Egypt.
So we are. So we have Peru coming in July and then Egypt in September.
So please, those are things to check out on RQX.com. And I think we waited long enough.
And also Egypt is sort of a hot topic.
Why?
Lately? I mean, all of the, the structures underground.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Ooh. And you know what? I don't want to be a killjoy on that, but the reality is that the frequency, and this is something that we talked about on, Kristi and I were just on the Curious Realms podcast with Chris Jordan, and exactly anyone who's talking about the science of this, and you can, because, even from a LiDAR background, they've done imaging. Those imagings are frequencies. They don't indicate any structures. So all this crap that we could just bring on Dr. Khalid and then we'll just talk.
Let's do that.
Okay. Even though we're talking language. So here comes Dr. Khalid oh my gosh, El Said. And I can't click and look at you and talk at the same time. Thank you.
Cool.
Hello.
Welcome.
It's really nice to talk to you. I am glad to get this chance to talk to you about Egyptians, ancient Egyptians, and what they believe, and we'll go through many topics which very interesting.
Yeah.
I start with their beliefs, then we'll go through why they built pyramids, and the what's afterlife, and after that we'll get a conclusion about you talk about lots of discoveries.
Yeah.
We heard about those discoveries, by the way. We know that something hidden. I see some people working in tents in certain spots under the pyramids, but actually it is hidden so far. So I'll tell you what I believe about and what we believe about as archaeologists, and also some of the sites think about technology and something like that. So advanced technology used to be during ancient Egypt. Actually, nothing for sure. I can't say no, nothing like that. But also, I have to tell you what's documented. So we'll go through all of that.
Perfect. So before we get into all of that, can I ask you what led you to where you are now?
You mean what I wear?
I mean, like, how did you end up in the field of work that you're in now?
Yeah, exactly. I by the way, I used to work long time ago. When I say about 30 years ago or 30 something. I used to work as an accountant.
Oh,
So then I left to the States for good, and I used to work as a sales agent in a MetLife insurance company. And in that time, my family hosted an American used to live in 85th Street in New York, and one of my family. It's a very interesting story. I am not going out of the topic, by the way. So he used to be a member of the Mets for Metropolitan Museum,
oh wow.
and his apartment building in front of that museum. So I used to go there every day. They hosted me for a month, and
Oh,
he gave
that's
me
nice.
he gave me a tour, by the way, there. He's fascinated by the ancient Egyptians. I wasn't really into history, so we don't study that much in the schools, by the way, in Egypt. That's we started. Yeah. So he
Really?
fascinated me. He fascinated me by the what we got.
Sure.
Then I tried to study in the States Egyptology. I couldn't because it's very expensive. I work hard to survive. Actually, no chance to do that. Pennsylvania used to have has a nice college, Egyptology,
Really?
specialized in Egyptology, but very
Egypt.
expensive, far,
In
far away.
Pennsylvania. In
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
So, yeah, I used to live in New York, so no chance. So
All right.
actually, it's a long story in the States. So after 7-8 years, I came back for good. And I started to study Egyptology here in Egypt. And after, because I have to do some studies here to get the license to be a guide. So I
Sure.
get the minimum studies which can qualify me to be a guide, to get the license. And I started to be a guide like 20 years ago. Still long time, yeah. So I got the language. I used to live in this. I lost some of the language, by the way, through years, but of the accent. But actually, I started to work as a guide, and I kept studying. You remember what happened in Egypt in 2011? So the uprising, which the revolution. So this revolution 2011. Actually, after that revolution, tourism went down. So actually, that gave me more time to study. So I finished my masters about the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, mainly in chapter 151, and later on I continued in the ancient Egyptian religion. Mainly I studied God Montu. God Montu is one of the chief gods in Egypt. Very important because he is the god of war. That's empire. So and to study the god of war, that's very important because the pharaoh should be supported by that god, and also that god during the New Kingdom, the era of Ramses II and the great pharaohs disappeared, and that's what we, of course, when you go to Luxor, everything there about Amun-Ra. So Amun-Ra take over of Montu. So all my studies, I do not spend long time in that. All my studies about the ancient Egyptian beliefs and the ancient Egyptian religion, and mainly in the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. That's long answer actually. So we need
So
10
let's
hours.
talk about that for a second. The ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead.
Yeah,
So tell us just a brief overview of that before we just dive in and dissect it, and
exactly.
and where you are with it. So a brief overview of that. What actually is that?
Okay, so ancient. If we want to consider it, it's a book. But we discover that book every time we discover a mummy, and we unwrap the mummy, we discover a rolled papyrus in ancient Egyptian language, hieroglyphic, what we call hieroglyphic today. But in that time, we didn't really decipher the language. It's like magical spells written. We don't understand what is that. Without before Champollion, we couldn't really decipher the language. We couldn't read the language. So we see it is the remains of the ancient Egyptian, يعني, great, but we don't understand really why he built that. What's behind that until Champollion deciphered the language in the 19th century, and then we started to understand what's going on. We started to read the temples, pyramids. We started to know history. We started to know names of kings and gods and goddesses. So that's as Egyptology is a science very young for humans. So it's about 200 years actually. After that, we started to translate the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Who did a good job in that? Actually, Budge, the English.
And about what year was this? Do you think?
Budge did that in the beginning of the 20th century.
Okay.
He started to have a complete translation for the Egyptian Book of the Dead. But about the end of the 19th century, actually, Champollion discovered the language. We started to work.
When was it discovered? I'm sorry. When was it discovered originally?
When discovered the Egyptian Book of the Dead?
Yes.
Since early days, because our discoveries started by the French when they occupied Egypt. They worked in the Egyptology since early days. Then year after year, we discover more monuments. We open the mummies and we find this book wrapped with the mummy. We don't understand what is that. We didn't know really what is that until we started to decipher the language, as I told you. Then,
so when you say that every time that a mummy is found or discovered, that there's a papyrus inside, is that
in the mummy? Yeah.
Inside. So this provides information into the death or the culture, the experience, or what?
That's what we'll talk about now. So Budge did a great job. He translated the book, the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead of Ani, one of the nobles during the Ramesside period in the about the 13th century BC. So he deciphered he translated the book, which is about and this book amazed us because we found in that book lots of details, and it's like our books today, by the way. You know, the Bible or the Torah or the Quran. It's a book talking about what you should do. This book got 60.
So it gives you an idea of how to live and how to treat people and how to exist.
We call it the Egyptian Book of the Dead. We as Egyptologists we gave it that name, but actually that's not the name of the book. The name of the book, Getting Out to the Light. You know, Hollywood movies always show that the dead is looking for the light, is between death and that's actually all the Hollywood movies, horror movies, inspired by the Egyptian Book of the Dead. We should share the cake with Hollywood, by the way, because all the horror movies inspired of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So in this book, actually, as I told you, it's actually for the Egyptians, magical spells will give you commitments like the 10 commitments we have in our books. Used to have 60 some. Egyptians used to be really high in morals. The civilization used to be very high in morals and very organized. So one of the commitments, like if you take a long look for the wife of the neighbor, you will not pass the judgment day. So if you cause any harm,
A long gander, just a long gander.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, you take a look, but not you can't take a long look. So that's high morals in that time. That's we're talking about 5,000 years from today. So actually, if you cause tears, or if you cause if you are a reason for someone to cry, you will not pass the judgment day. Look, today we have a propaganda about the human rights, kids' rights, women rights. We didn't reach actually all of that. So we are trying. So we got some, but actually Egyptians used to have all of that in the Egyptian Book of the Dead without mentioning that it is rights. It's part of the beliefs. Like when you go, of course, that's during my tour, we do all of that. So one of the scenes you see, you see the king equal as the queen. So that's women rights. So it doesn't bother the king, never bother the king that his wife sharing him, to show that he is sharing him everything and also equal as him. So
I love that. I love that.
And by the
That's
way,
beautiful.
it's not. Yeah, if it's not a choice for the pharaoh. Let's talk about what the people amazed. I'll talk about King Tut because everybody amazed by King Tut. So we'll talk about a pharaoh, exact pharaoh, so people can imagine what's going on. So King Tut, all his monuments got his wife equal. Of course, all Egyptian pharaohs used to do that. But anyway, we'll concentrate on King Tut. So also, if you don't have love with the wife, actually, if the wife doesn't love the man, that's a problem for the man, for the pharaoh, because pharaohs used to be gods. By the way, they are everything. They are like, they own everything. They own the universe we live in. They are magicians. They believe that they are magicians. So it's easy to have.
What makes a magician? What makes a magician?
That's very good question. That's what you will see all over Egypt when you come. Gods and goddesses always give them the tools they will use magic with. So you know the coffin of King Tut, which is everywhere. He carried 2 sticks. We call it Osiran position. Those 2 sticks, Khekhin and Hiqa, those are magical sticks. So he used magic. He got the power over Egypt and the power controlling the Egyptians by those 2. He believed in that by these 2 sticks. But by the way, also in our books, they mentioned that Egyptians are magicians. So that's applied to our books after that translation. So Osiris, always you'll see on the temples.
So
gods. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Khalid. So what type of magic are the magicians using, and where are they getting their energy from?
From gods and goddesses. The gods and gods, the universe they live in. So gods and goddesses use a mediator between the universe and the pharaohs. So pharaohs actually believe that they are the reason for the civilized world we live in. So they believe that the universe we live in chaos, and Earth got chaos before. Since the pharaohs take over, the civilization started. They organize Earth. They can control Earth by the magic they got from the universe, by the gods and goddesses. So that's very much actually, as I planned, we'll start with the ancient Egyptian beliefs. So we are not not out of the topic, by the way. So that's part of the beliefs. Also, I have to mention, while we are talking about the Egyptian Book of the Dead, if the family not united, ancient Egyptian used to have, as I told you, they are different than us today, and that's and civilization documented about 5,000 years from today. Of course, we believe 7,000 years before used to have civilized world also, but not documented. We don't have documents. We invented language, the ancient Egyptian language, 3,000, about 3,000 BC. So that's how we started to write.
In 3000 BC.
3,000 BC. So
Okay.
little sentences. So look, in certain points, but documented also, we have documents for that. In certain points, the civilization elevated as a rocket, which is about 100 some years before building the Great Pyramid. So so by one man. So of course, you talk about.
I'm sorry. Khalid, did you say the pyramids were built by one man?
I mean, not only the pyramids, but we built as humans. I'm not taking, look, Egyptians today not belonging to the, not we call them ancient Egyptians, but they are the start of the civilization we live in. They don't belong to the Egyptians anymore because they belong to all the humans. So without that man Imhotep, actually, maybe we are building our buildings today by mud bricks still until today, because he is the one who invented, and that's one of our visits, Saqqara. And you'll see all the details about how this civilization started. So Imhotep is the vizier of King Zoser, which is about 100 some years before building the Great Pyramid. So he started to build in stones. So he started to imitate what they have in Memphis. In Memphis, they used to build buildings from palm trees, wood, and ropes. And also palm trees, the leaves of the palm trees and ropes. That's the wall. Columns from palm trees, wood, and ropes. So that's very much the temple used to be built, houses used to be built. That's all they know. And mud bricks. So so what he will do, then he started, he's an architect, by the way. He's the first architect on earth. So he started he invented how to build in stones. And by the way, anyone say aliens who build the civilization, I don't blame them. Because all of a sudden, Imhotep, when you go to Saqqara, you'll see that perfect engineering.
How do you explain that? How do you explain it?
Yeah, no explanation actually. It's a mystery. So we have mystery.
It's curious to me, Dr. Khalid, that it's curious to me that as a Egyptian documentarian, schooled in this subject, that you've not seen any documentation to show that.
No, we have documentations we built, which is very nice to do. We built a nice museum for Imhotep. That's what you'll see with me. We didn't discover anything about Imhotep, his tomb, his tools, because he started to build in stones, and he built for his king Zoser. Zoser is the one who adopted Imhotep. Imhotep, one of the common people. He was genius, and he's not only an architect, he's also a physician. He invented how to do surgeries. So you'll see also in one of the temples in Aswan, Komambo, you see the tools he used to use in surgeries, and very complicated tools, by the way. And he used to write booms also. He's genius. So he started to build in stones, and he thought to build a project for the king. So he built as a project what we call the site of Saqqara, which it's a site for the living king and the dead king. What for
Can
the
I-
living is, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I want to back up and ask about Memphis, because a lot of people, I think a lot of Americans, a lot of tourists, they don't know the importance of Memphis.
Exactly.
And I thought maybe, and there's also, it's interesting because Memphis seems to also have a lot of some of that not explainable architecture. It seems to be heavy with it. But could you maybe talk a little bit about it being the capital of Egypt for the empire?
Yeah.
A lot of people just don't know that.
Yeah, Memphis. Yeah, Memphis is because, as I told you, 3000 BC we started to have documents, and we started to write, and we found some monuments. Got the word Memphis. So Memphis is the capital of Egypt during the Old Kingdom. The early the about the 3000 BC, 5000 years from today. So we started to hear about Memphis, but Memphis should be long time before, because Egypt used to be two parts, Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. So it's Memphis in Lower Egypt. Egyptians used to look to the map opposite. They look to the source of the Nile.
I'm sorry. What was the difference between the two?
No difference, actually. It's two civilizations, got two pharaohs for a long time, and then one of the pharaohs of the north, Na'armar, Mina. We have some documents for that. Some pieces of stones got scenes, got the name Mina, because they weren't good in language. Just the name of the king and couple letters. That's it. So and he commemorated the victory, which is occupying Upper Egypt, in some pieces of stones. You see that in very important room in Cairo Museum. So that's how the civilization started. One pharaoh take the domination for the whole nation.
So can I ask about the female pharaohs? Are we going to talk about any of those? Or
sure.
I
sure.
mean, how many are credited right now? Because there's more than two, but there's not a lot of talk about any of the female pharaohs. It doesn't seem to happen.
Of course, we have few of them. Not many actually, but few of them, in some of them in the Old Kingdom. But they are not really famous. They didn't dominate for a long time. But actually, mainly and the most famous, Hatshepsut. So the female pharaoh Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut actually did a great job for Egypt. Actually, she did what no other pharaoh could do. He dominated Egypt for about 20 years, and instead of having wars with Central Africa, he did commercial relation with Central Africa, and the first commercial relation with another very long. Yani Central Africa is too far from Egypt, and she got a commercial relation. She could send to them stones and gold and get back to Egypt exotic animals and plants, and that's what you'll see in her temple of Hatshepsut in Luxor. So of course our female queens, I mean the wives of the pharaohs, are famous in Egypt also, because they used to share the throne. Nefertiti, Nefertari, and some other pharaohs actually famous also. Why they are famous? Because they are equal. So actually, I want to go back to the point of Imhotep.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I wanna. That's how we'll start everything. So Imhotep invented how to build in stones, and also we got Saqqara. The remains of Saqqara, not big deal. You'll not be really amazed as some other places like the pyramids. But for me, it's more important because that's the start of building in stones. This is the first building in stone ever. Also, he built for his king a step pyramid. He buried the king there. And that's the first pyramid ever. So we know how the pyramid's built. So exactly. So it started as a step pyramid. Then later on, Pharaoh, the father of Khufu, inspired of that step pyramid. Why step pyramid? Because the king, the soul of the king will step to heaven on that. That's what Imhotep imagined. So the father of King Khufu tried to build a pyramid. Senefru. Senefru is one of our great pharaohs, by the way. But actually, as I told you, the language wasn't advanced. So all we got two fantastic pyramids in Dahshur, which is said that always we get short tours, about 6-7 days, maximum 10 days. So most of the tourists don't visit all those monuments. So they do the Great Pyramid, which is famous, and that's it. So two pyramids are famous. One of them was like a try. We call it bent pyramid because it cracked. Then he changed the angle, and in that time he did know that the angle was wrong. So he built another pyramid, which is about 3/4 of a kilometers north. Perfect, exactly as the pyramid of Khufu.
So what does that mean for you? I'm sorry to interrupt, but what does that mean for you? Like the direction of the pyramids, the way that they face, what does that mean for you?
You mean north to south, east to west?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, of course, first the pyramid is first to understand what is the pyramid. The pyramid is a fortress for the mummy. So we'll talk about the beliefs. So Egyptians believe in, which is we'll talk about now. Egyptians believe in eternity. So without how they will get the eternity, you need to keep their mummy inside, and it's where the eternity will start. Okay, to get that point, I have to explain few things. First, that we believe that we are body and soul. Ancient Egyptian believe different, that they are different parts. To make it simple, they believe that they are a shape and the ka and the ba. So the shape is, I am talking to you now, alive. Mm-hmm. So my shape now is my body. Mm-hmm. And my ka, to be alive, talking, I need to have the ka inside, part of me. Also, the ba, which is the most important, which is the character, my character. So what we believe,
well, I'm sorry, what was the last one? That wasn't clear. What was the last one?
The ba. The ba is the soul we believe in. It's like the soul. Okay. Yeah, which is the main part, the character, your character. So when someone we call dead, they don't call him dead. They call him, it's the sign of the start of the trip. What will happen? That the ka will come out and the ba will come out of the shape, which is the body, and we'll do. That's how the trip will start. So we did talk about the Egyptian Book of the Dead, what it has. It has some about the living. We did talk about the commitments, and the rest we'll talk about later.
So the Book of the Dead, the Book of the Dead covers exactly this. This is all
exactly.
So yeah, this is exactly. All. So this is the explanation for the Egyptians. The Book of the Dead is a complete layout of. This exactly. Okay. This is where you're going. This is what you're doing.
Yeah, before the beginning of the 20th century, Budge did a great job to the humans, actually, not for the Egyptians, that he translated the biggest book, the longest book, which got about 190 some spells, magical spells. That's the biggest book. And since then, we got all these details. So we did talk about the living, the part for the living. Now we'll start the talk about the part for the
We got
what we
pause.
call they did. But
Hold on, I
don't
apologize. I want to
Yeah,
apologize.
sure.
I want to apologize because I want to interrupt. Before we go on with this, I think there's also a base understanding how much of the ancient, from the language written and spoken, how much is really known about the ancient Egyptian spoken and written language?
100% actually.
Really?
100%.
Okay.
Why? Because Champollion used to know 7 languages, some of them Eastern. Also, something amazing, which is it's part of my tour too. When we visit Coptic Cairo,
Okay.
Egyptians are the first Christians, by the way. So we got the earliest churches in Egypt. So which is amazing, which helped us that they use the Coptic language in their churches. They don't write, they don't know how to write, but they recite. They pray in ancient Egyptian language. So Champollion used to know few Eastern languages. So he could, when he deciphered the language, he could also get a pronunciation for this language from the Egyptian churches. When if you are lucky, we do the visit in Sunday, so you can visit, attend the mass inside. So they pray and they recite the parts of the Bible in Coptic. Then they do it in Arabic. So later on, the language they know. But from that, we could have an accent for the ancient Egyptian language. So it's 100% today.
Is there any, you're a lot of people don't know this. We know from talking to you that you know a lot about ancient Egyptian writings. As far as Coptic Christian goes, I attended a lecture by a professor here, in Minnesota, discussing some of the archaeological theft that happened in period archaeology from institutions that came to Egypt. Is there any efforts by any of the government to retrieve or have some of these institutions that took some of the Coptic Christian writings, and look, it could involve anything. I mean, there's plenty of items in Berlin or in Europe and all over the world. Is there still an ongoing effort to get some of these things back to Egypt when they were taken? They weren't taken. I know it's a touchy subject. We don't have to talk about it. It's a touchy subject, but
no, it's actually I have to adjust something about that. They got all the monuments, without our permission. Most of the discoveries started in the beginning of the 19th century. Egypt got a leader in the time. His name Muhammad Ali Basha. The boxer Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali got his name from this guy because he used to believe that he is the best, the greatest Egyptian leader ever. So he used to call himself the greater, exactly as Muhammad Ali, the boxer. He got the name and the epithet from Muhammad Ali Basha. Was Muhammad Ali?
Okay.
We used to be a colony belonging to the Turkish, but he got ideas about getting Egypt for himself, to have his own empire. So he started to do all. That's why Egypt is modern and advanced today, because he split it from the Turkish. All the Arabs today used to be connected to the Turkish Empire until after World War I. So we disattach it from the Turkish since the beginning of the 19th century. I do wanna. Of course, when you visit, we'll do the Mosque of Muhammad Ali and his royal family. That's part of modern Egypt. But anyway, I don't want to change the topic. Muhammad Ali started all the excavations for ancient Egypt. And he hired mainly the French and the British later on. He and his sons and grandsons continued that. So Muhammad Ali Basha used to believe that all the monuments belong to him. So Muhammad Ali Basha
Wow.
Muhammad Ali,
What an
Muhammad,
ego.
Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali Basha wanted to be closer to the Europeans because he wanted them to back him against the Sultan in Turkey. He want to split from the Turkish. So any ambassador going back to his country, the Australian or the British or the French, he used to send with him a boat with monuments, boats with monuments as a gift to back him to be, because he found that they are very attached to this to the ancient Egyptian history. So part of those monuments, as I said, lots of monuments, ancient Egyptian monuments, Coptic monuments, all the monuments we have. They used to split the monuments between us and them. But actually, I have to admit also that some pieces just stolen, yani, or just sent right away to Europe without the permission of the Egyptians. When you go to London Museum or the Louvre, you'll see the best pieces ever. Most of them actually just taken right away because they found that it is rare. And so some of them, yes, taken, and they should return some back. And we have a good relation actually today with all the Western countries. We get back, which is what we don't have, because we have huge amount of monuments in the basements of the museums. That's why we built the gem. So they send some back. We need some pieces actually badly, like Rosetta Stone in London Museum, because that's how we disappear the language. They give us a copy. That's not fair. Also, the head of Nefertiti in Berlin Museum, because that's the best monument ever discovered, colored and in good shape. Plus, also the character Nefertiti.
That's pretty cool.
The whole family is here in Cairo Museum. So we need this. Plus, also they stole it. They cheated the government at the time that they covered it by mud. So we used to decide that the deal is to split the discoveries, and we decide what they get. So they covered it by mud to look ugly. So we give it to them, and all of a sudden in Berlin Museum, it's the best monument ever. So they Hawass, of course, I believe, well known, yani. They Hawass giving them hard time actually to bring back the head. We will get the head after the gym, actually, I believe. We have good relation. We have good relation with all the museums and all the countries, yani Germany, France, Britain, all very close to us actually. And the after the gym actually will get many of the pieces back. But actually, I believe personally that it's propaganda for us without paying a penny. Yani, when you go to visit any museum, you decide to come to Egypt. So he does a job. He does a job for us.
Free marketing.
Yeah. Khalid, can we put you on hold for a minute? We're going to do a mid-break, and we have to thank some people and talk about our trip. Can we bring you back in like a minute and a half? All right, that'd be great. All right, we're going to put you off stage for a minute. We'll bring you right back. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hey, everybody. We are midway through, and it's time to talk about Belize again. We are going to Belize.
Yes. So May 30th, we leave. We come back on June 8th. We're going to spend 10 days, 9 nights, discovering and traveling all over Belize, experiencing ruins and cave tours, breathwork, yoga, amazing food, amazing scenery.
Yeah.
Lots of conscious work, lots of conscious conversations.
Hiking, and if you don't want to do anything, you don't have to.
Yeah, if you just want to sleep in and, spend time with yourself, that's okay too.
Yeah, but join us. It's going to be a great trip. The amount of stuff is not going to be overwhelming, but gosh, is it going to be really mystical and really amazing. And if all you do is show up, that we would love for that to happen. So go to archeox.com, go to our trips page. You're going to see the Belize tour right away. And Peru and Egypt are around the corner, and we're going to keep talking to Dr. Khalid. And I think
we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. In the meantime, I'm going to entertain everyone while Kristi slips out and gets me another drink. Or no. But what we're going to do right now is continue with Dr. Khalid, who is an Egyptologist in Egypt. And we are going to go over the rest of the Book of the Dead, which he is an absolute expert in. And who doesn't want to learn about magical spells that can, I don't know, we'll get into it shortly. But it's super important that we thank some of the people that have made early commitments to go to Belize with us. And we want you to come. And it's slightly repetitive, but the reality is it's going to be a great trip. We're going to have you meet a few more people, not just from Egypt, but in the coming weeks, we're going to be on Solaris Blue Ravens channel. We were on Jimmy Church recently. We were just on Chris Jordan, which aired the night before. And that would be the Curious Realms podcast. All of these and other things are being updated on the archaeox.com website. You'll be able to find our current podcasts, past podcasts, and soon to be a more complete list of everywhere that we'll be broadcasting from, which will include the podcasts that we're guesting on. And of course, all of our new and exciting guests that we're going to have on ArchaeoX. We are going to be going probably to a 2-show week. We will still do Wednesday nights. Again, ArchaeoX KJ is on YouTube now. We are broadcasting live right now on Not Aliens. That is, of course, a channel that's been established for a while. I appreciate all of you listening. And we are going to keep communicating on every platform possible. We're on Facebook now. If you want to look for ArchaeoX KJ, we are on Facebook. That's another way to connect with us. And up and coming will be Instagram, Twitter, and a couple more. But for now, thank you again for watching. We're going to get back with our interview with Dr. Khalid here in just a second. And again, stay with us. We have about another 45 minutes left, and we will be here next week. Thank you. And let's bring Dr. Khalid back. Here we are.
Yeah.
Thank you for tolerating our mid-break.
My pleasure. Actually, we finished the first part, which is we did talk about the living Egyptians and that part of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And now we are ready to talk about the rest of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which is talking about the trip through the underworld.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll talk about King Tut. So because everybody amazed by the young pharaoh and his monuments. So once the pharaoh got the signs of starting the trip, they will prepare him for the trip. So what is this trip, and what we got in the Egyptian Book of the Dead about this trip? So this trip, exactly as you are talking about your trips, one of them to Egypt. So your trip to Egypt, exactly as a trip for the pharaoh through the underworld. When first thing you think about visiting Egypt, so the first thing you look for is the flight, the suitable flight, because dates. The date for the pharaoh is the death, so the time of the death. So first thing you'll think about the flight. So the pharaoh, first thing you will think about is having a boat for his trip in his tomb. So of course, in the early days, about the time of King Khufu, they used to have it in a hard way. Actually, they built a huge pit with a huge boat. We'll see that boat in the gym, in the new museum. Fantastic boat, huge boat. That's the only boat huge we discovered. So that's first
So
thing.
this boat was actually something that was discovered. This isn't theory or fable. This is actually discovered, right?
Yeah, we found a boat close to the pyramid. We didn't understand really why he got a boat in pieces. It's a boat in little pieces like puzzle. It took us from 1956 until 1984 to get it together. So it's like pieces of wood. We put it. We have no AI in that time. So we rely on the scenes of the in the temples and tombs to get the pieces together. It took us 30 years, but we are proud of this boat because we did it without any foreigner. So our Egyptologists started to study in Europe, in the States, and they came back to Egypt and they could do a good job. Actually, that's why this boat is very important to us. We did it without any foreigner. And it's you'll see that in the gym actually one of because always you think about which is famous, but this boat is big deal actually. So anyway, first thing you think about your flight.
Yeah, kind of.
Second thing, you will think about your luggage. So look, you'll come to Egypt for 10, 12 days, and you always think about your luggage to be light. You don't know which jacket you will take. You don't know what you can use there, and you keep thinking, you keep changing the luggage all the time. uh, that's also what makes the pharaoh worry, because he's leaving to the eternity. He need to have his luggage with him. He think that he is leaving, traveling. So, and the tomb, sometimes limited, sometimes big. So you need to have which is necessary, can fit in the tomb. So that's the luggage. I call it the luggage, the funerary monuments. So the funerary.
So what's found in the tomb when we make these discoveries, the objects, the artifacts that are found in the tomb?
The luggage. That's
The
his
luggage.
luggage.
That's
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
His
Okay.
custom, even his food, and which is amazing that everything intact. Egyptian used to have everything intact, not only the mummy. That's used to be very advanced in chemistry also and chemicals. So they used to add some chemicals and used to have some gradients to keep everything intact. Wood, textile, even stretch feathers. So he got his fan intact. You'll see that in the museum with the feathers. So that's a technique the Egyptians used to have, which is helping them to achieve. Yani, their beliefs is they believe in eternity, and they could achieve to accomplish the job. Actually, they could invent a chemical chemicals and ingredients to keep everything intact. So
Khalid,
that's very much what.
Khalid, sorry, what happens to the average Egyptian then? They can't afford all this.
Exactly. So what happened that we now we are talking about, during the era of King Khufu, the builder of the pyramid, only the pharaoh used to do this trip. Only the pharaoh, and all the Egyptians used to believe that we have no slaves, by the way, in ancient in all the kingdom. So everybody built that pyramid. They are building that pyramid for the beloved pharaoh to survive, to do the trip. And if he survived and he succeeded to do the trip and he got the eternity, everybody will get the eternity with him, because he will go there as a king. And anyone will die, he will go with him to the eternity in the time. But Egypt in the new kingdom during Ramses II, the great emperor, used to be like the states today. The middle class is big in the time. So, and the high rank of people, huge number. So many people, so good number of the Egyptians could afford to build their tombs. Of course, not that fascinating as the rich, the pharaoh or the royal family. But still, if everyone in the new king, and that's what you will visit in Luxor, you will do the value of the kings, value of the queens, and also the nobles. And that's what we discovered. We have millennia under the sand. Amazing tombs for the nobles. Commons, if they are not really for the building the tomb and getting the luggage, they have they do the same, but in the valley, yani in the green and close to the green. So
But what
as you know,
happens to their soul? What happens to their eternity?
exactly. That's what we'll continue the talk about the trip.
You're referring to
Okay. Now.
Yeah, like just your average Egyptian. Like
Yeah.
if this is the belief system of your average Egyptian, then what happens if you're not pharaoh?
Yes.
What happens if you're not noble? What happens if you're just a commoner?
You'll do the same, but your tomb will be not that safe. Actually, maybe close to the mud, and through years it will be gone. Yani, we have lots of discoveries, we didn't do that much excavation, but what we discovered for the high rank of Egyptians. So most of the less than the middle class used to be buried close to the valley. So the Nile used to flood and get high, and most of their tombs, all the tombs, gone. We find remains sometimes, but we didn't
But is
find.
there a level of eternity? Like, is there a different
No,
level of eternity?
Egyptian,
It's all the
no,
same.
all the same, and we'll talk about that really. Actually, I'll
Okay.
explain them. So,
Let's
yeah,
get to it.
yeah. So, you got your flight, then you prepared your luggage, but still, you are going to a very tough. You're coming to Egypt. Egypt got a history of tough time, and now some people say, "Are you sure you want to go to Egypt?" So, is it safe? So they get impression, which is really since the 70s or 80s or early 2000. Some
Mm-hmm.
Egypt is
So
the
it's safe, relatively safe. It's fine.
exactly. Some people say it's fantastic country, so it
Right.
is safe. So just go, and you can be on your own.
Sure.
But actually, that's 10 days you spend, and you don't want to lose. You don't want to be you want to get the best of this tour,
Sure.
and to go back, you go back safe. So no choice.
I'm sorry. So walk us through the underworld. Like, what does this look like? What is the process of
Yeah, I
death?
start right away, but yeah, I'm starting now. I'm getting to that. That's the main subject. Yeah, what you're asking for.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, we you need no way than to have a guide like me to guide you through the best of this tour to be safe, to ensure your safety, and also to face the challenges you will face in that country. So you need a guide, you need an agent you can rely on. That's it, very much the Egyptian, which he is relying on the book rolled and buried with him. So so when someone will start the trip right now. So when someone we call dead, they say he will start his trip. So right away, Anubis, which is the priest wear the head of Anubis, recite the magical spells to protect the mummy, preparing the mummification, which will take 70 days. So you can imagine 70 days of making a mummy, reciting spells, which is those spells written on the chapter 151 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Anubis in the middle, Nephthys and Isis with their magic, they will help the mummy to be prepared and protected. Then after we finish the mummification in 70 days, we'll bury the mummy. As I said, the ka outside and the pa outside. On the mummy, we'll bury the King Tut, we'll seal the tomb. Each tomb in ancient Egypt should have what we call false door. It's a door, again, an entrance. Looks like a door. It's just they carve the stone as a door, and magical spells all over the door. Which any, I don't want to confuse you. So when you go to the museum and you see any hieroglyphic written on coffin or a monument or piece of papyrus, all of that, 99% the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So actually the coffins, the tombs, the pyramids, 100% parts of the Egyptian Book of the Dead started in the pyramids. Some of the pyramids in Saqqara. All of a sudden, that's another mystery. All of a sudden, we found fantastic carving with lots of sentences we didn't understand before what that. But when we read the language later on, it's those parts, the start of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. We call it in the time pyramids texts. So what will happen after we seal the tomb? The Ba, which is the soul, we close to the soul we believe in, will fly from the door. The spells on the wall plus Anubis, of course, will combine. Anubis, God Anubis, your lawyer actually. He's the one who will be with you all the time to protect you and to help you.
Anubis?
God Anubis. It's like a jackal head, black head, which is part of the monuments of King Tut. One fantastic Anubis in the collection of King Tut exhibited in the gem. You'll see that when you come. So Anubis will be with you entering the underworld, giving you a help, plus also, but mainly you rely on the magical spells on the door. What will stay in the tomb? The mummy and the car, waiting. They are waiting the Ba. Then the Ba will fly. The Ba, to imagine with me, of course you will see all of that in the museum. You'll see the papyrus on monuments. The Ka and the Ba like two birds sitting on the mummy with the head of the deceased. So one bird will stay with the mummy and the other bird will fly through the door. That's where, in that point, the trip will start. Then the Ba will go through the tough time. They believe it's a dark world and tough time. You need to be sure that you are safe. You do that safely. So they rely on the Egyptian Book of the Dead and the magical spells written, which will guide you as the guide. Like as I compared this trip with the trip to Egypt, the guide will be with you in every step, and he will tell you exactly what to do to get the best of the tour and to be protected. And the magical spells will guide you. You will pass through difficult time. Some gods and goddesses gates. They'll never open the gates until you give them respect and you show that you are good during your life. And also some creatures like scarabs like evil will attack you.
I'm sorry, some creatures like what?
Scarabs.
Scarabs?
Scarabs. A scarab.
Why have I not heard of those?
Oh, have you seen The Mummy?
No.
Yeah.
The one with Brendan Fraser. I need to watch that one. I've seen bits and pieces.
We need to watch that tonight.
What the hell? Hey,
Hollywood really inspired. Yani, lots of their movies inspired of the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
Oh yeah.
Also, a snake.
Wait, one question. Before we pause on that. Is there anyone in modern times now in Egypt following the Book of the Dead? Is there any religious groups that are still practicing?
Zero.
Oh, wow. Zero?
Yeah.
Zero.
Wow.
Zero.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, we are the first, as I told you, we are the first Christians in Earth. So in the first century, most of the Egyptians turned to be Christians.
Wow.
And you see that when we go to on the Nile cruise to from Luxor to Aswan or the opposite, we'll stop in two temples. Those two temples and many other temples actually turned to be churches. So Egyptians turned it from adoring different gods and goddesses to only Jesus Christ. That's why Coptics, the Egyptian, we call them Coptics. Coptic mean in ancient Egyptian, native Egyptian. So they are if the answer of your question, Yes, the Coptics, the Egyptian Christians.
The
What they used to do,
originals. The
yeah,
originals.
yes, what they used to do in the temples,
The original.
True.
yeah.
Hey,
What
Khalid,
used
what do
to
you do? All right, sorry, gotta ask.
do,
Do you think you got the Ark of the Covenant then somewhere?
sorry, can you repeat?
The Ark of the Covenant. Do you think it's there in Egypt? Do you think the Coptics had the Ark of the Covenant?
Uh, Sorry, what is that? So, yeah, I this word didn't pass. Yani, can you explain it in another way?
The Ark of the Covenant from the biblical from the Old Testament.
Uh,
The actual
uh,
Ark. Do you think
uh,
this is actually good proof of how much he's into Egyptology and not Christian Coptic. This is great.
yeah.
Okay.
No, actually, of course, I know a lot about the Coptics, but all actually what related to the ancient Egyptians. So, so of course, yeah. So,
what did you have?
Go ahead.
Oh no, because I interrupted him when he was about to talk about a snake. But before we get to the snake,
yeah.
and all I'm thinking about is scarabs, and all I'm thinking about it. We got to talk about the mummy after this. We got issues.
I'm sorry. I'm behind the time. Am I behind the times?
We're not going to talk about it on air. People are watching.
I have nice documentary movies about the Egyptian Book of the Dead, actually, which is it's like a movie also. So not that documentary. It got also actors or whatever and acting. So I can send it to you if you like. So anyway, so as I said, snacks, Abu Fis, and we call it Abu Fis, which is like evil. So Egyptians used to believe in evil. So also that will attack the King Tut, and he needs spells to protect him. If you look to the back of the mask, I sent you a photo actually of that. The back of the mask of King Tut.
Let me look for it. I can look for it. We might be able to pull it up.
Yeah.
There were so many photos that
this chapter 30, to protect the mummy, to protect King Tut, which is also part of what we call the Judgment Day.
This isn't it, right?
No, that's 151. We passed that, which is preparing the mummy.
Okay, let me look.
You see a scale and some gods and goddesses around.
So it's a single picture. It's not King Tut's head. It's chapter 30.
Yeah, it's chapter 30. Just the back of the head of King Tut.
Well, this is chapter 30. I have one file for chapter
Which
30.
is exactly as of course that's written only, but you see some of this written sentences on the main scene in the one in the waiting the heart, 2 scales and the gods and goddesses. But that's only the spells written on the back of the mask. So that's to protect the deceased. So he will be protected by the spells. So the scarab will be useless, and Abu Fis can do nothing. And part of the trip also, it's like paradise. He will pass a huge lake by his boat. Actually, I have to mention something. The only one used to do the trip every day, the Gadra, the sun. Our sun leave Earth from west. Actually, still there. You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you for sure.
Yeah,
We're just I wanted to make the screen a little bit. I was going to try to make it a little bit bigger, so I was taking this out.
Okay.
I would never. I don't know why, but I've just never thought of it.
Unless you were there in person, you wouldn't inspect it this way. You wouldn't think.
It's so interesting, and
it is interesting.
Is there more? Don't even. I'm just.
Do you see how each of those
actually I can hear you that that good. So
coming down from the back, in the back of the head, the
braid?
spiral coming down, the braid in the back. It's so even, like it's lathe cut. Do you see it?
It is pretty even.
It's like it's lathe cut. Like
yeah,
that's
Egyptians used to do perfect job, by the way. Symmetrical carving by
yes.
part of the millimeter, by parts of the millimeter. In
Yeah,
statues on masks, which that's another mystery, by the way. We didn't discover the tools they used to
Right.
use to do
So
that.
how do you explain that?
No explanation. So that's they used to do also used to do no mistakes. Like they carve very difficult carving.
Right.
If you
So
want to do that today, if
who did that?
you I hear you very. Can you? Okay, I'll try to get closer. Actually,
I think you're
I think it's us.
yeah.
Can you hear us? Okay.
not really. Actually,
Okay.
Well, while you work on that, maybe it's the speaker again, but we can. I don't know. I'm kind of curious about seeing the back of all these heads and all
I
these.
know. Now I'm
these
like,
coffins.
we need to look at the back of all of the statues. Look at
anyway.
this.
So I if you like to continue, and I'll try to, يعني, to concentrate
Absolutely.
about.
Yes. Let's continue.
Just
Please.
yeah, just look little slowly, and I'll try to catch what you say.
Sure.
So
should we remove this? Should we remove this photo, or do you want to keep referencing it?
yeah, you can go through the chapter 125 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the scale, and the different gods and goddesses, and the spells of the hieroglyphic. Chapter 30 and 125.
Scroll.
Yeah, that's Book of Annie.
You mean okay? So you want this? You want this one?
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. So after all of that, after we pass all those, of course, we are passing, as I said before, who will lead you in this trip. As I said, you will do that trip on. You hear me? Do you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. We can hear you.
Okay.
Keep going.
So you will do this trip on about Gadra, the sun. Do that every day. The sunset, then resurrection, sunrise. Gadra, the sun. So Gadra will be with the King Tut on the boat. The transportation we did talk about. So both will be on the boat. Gadra will take you through all of that as kind of protection until you reach the most difficult time. What you see on the screen now. That's the Judgment Day.
Okay, so this is what we're looking at is Judgment Day.
Yeah, where you will be judged, waiting the heart. We call that scene waiting the heart, which is mixed between chapters. That's actually theory B, and also which on the back, part of those spells on the back of the mask.
How do we explain the size difference in the people on the screen, and also how do we explain the figure, the being that is human on the bottom,
Anubis,
but has a
actually the size how I explain the size. Actually, he and his wife, the superstars of the story. Actually, the two who will do the trip. So that's why their size and their clothes white, and they are bending little bit, as you see, bend to respect Anubis and Horus and Thoth. You see Anubis standing, Horus should be there also, and God Thoth. That's God Thoth, the abyss head God on the right. And Anubis, as I told you, as your lawyer, he want to be sure that the trial is fair. So he's adjusting the scale, as you see. And the scale got two scales.
Why does he get to decide that, though?
Yeah. One got the heart, and one got a feather. The feather. Sometimes you see a feather, just a feather, and sometimes you see a lady with a feather on the skin. That's
I never
that's
noticed.
Goddess Ma'at. Goddess Ma'at. No translation for the Ma'at, but the translation, the closest translation for the Ma'at is justice, or to be good during your life. So if
Khalid,
the
hold on. I gotta back up. Why does Anubis? Why does Anubis look like Anubis? Why that head? Why does Anubis look like Anubis?
So,
yeah, but why a jackal?
why a jackal? Look, our gods and goddesses got the characters of animals. So all of them. You see, Horus is uh, 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 falcon, and also Anubis is a jackal. And as you see, thought, God thought, and sometimes they call it Thoth, got ahead of Ibis. So also all our gods and goddesses got characters of animals. Look, why a jackal? Why they got the jackal as one of our chief gods? Jackals also look most of each animal strong and got remarkable. يعني they got strength in something. So the jackal used to look for the remains of the bodies in the desert, and just really they don't like. Sometimes they got scared from the jackal because he do that after parrying. So that's how when they scare from an animal, or they see that this animal is strong in certain way.
Sure.
So they have it as a god. So that's why they got a jackal. Sometimes they have lion-headed goddess, or
Right.
so because the lions are
Right.
strong, and they have some cats also. Cats are important in ancient Egypt. So,
Sure. Khalid,
but use the character only. By the way, used to deal with. That's what you will visit with me in Cairo Museum, the mummification museum of animals. They used to have them as pets. By the way, like what you do today, and used to deal with them as animals, but only the character. You get only the character as gods and gods. So anyway, Anubis adjusting the scale. God thought is the god of knowledge and technology. He is writing every single detail about the trial. So all of that, all this trial
So
will end by
to the underworld route, right?
Yeah, like the
relative to the process of the underworld. What is this specific piece have to? How does it relate to that?
How do you get to where you're in the trial? Like, what's all happened to you? You've died. You've gone through process. Like, when you get the trial, when do you get to stand there?
That the last step in the trip.
So how long have you been dead? Like, to get to the trial, how long have you been? Like, how long have you been dead to get to this part?
How long you talk about time?
Like, so you're dead. You don't just get to the trial.
Oh, but hey, I like.
No, not really.
You're talking about time. Which is
no. You didn't mention time actually. Yeah. You didn't talk about the length of time, but that's the end of the trip.
Scarabs. Okay, so here we are at the. This is okay. Sorry, please continue.
Okay, so if the scale is equal, if your heart is equal as the Ma'at, which is you got justice, you did good in your life, you will pass the judgment day. If the heart is light, if your heart is light, so it will be up. So that means you got no love, and you didn't do good in your life. You don't love the other people. You don't like the other people. and you did wrong. If the heart is heavy, it will drop. So that means you got lots of hate for the people. You did lots of wrong to the others. Right away, this hybrid animal, it's the head of like a crocodile and a body of baboon. We call it amam. He was waiting the results. If the guy who is wearing white with his wife here there did wrong, that means he did wrong, and he will eat him and his heart right away. That's the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's bad.
Well, there's that.
There's that.
Yeah.
Like if you
And he's waiting. Ready.
if you don't do what I say, I'm going to eat you.
The jackal, crocodile, baboon thing is going to eat you.
Yeah.
Or not.
Then if you did good, and something is nice about that, you never see someone punished or someone eaten by amam. So that just, it seems like all the Egyptians did good through their life. So after that, after you pass the judgment day, the two skills are equal. Also, gods and goddesses, different gods and goddesses belong to different realms of Egypt, are sitting, and also they will judge you. But mainly you will be judged by God Osiris. God Osiris will sit waiting the results. When they say when God thought write every single detail and the report done, he will recite which is written. He will recite what the results to Osiris, the chief god of the underworld. He carries the two sticks. That's exactly as the coffin of King Tut, the two sticks. Because when a pharaoh die, he will be incarnation of Osiris. Osiris looks like a mummy sitting with two sticks. So Osiris will decide that he will get the eternity. What will happen now? Because that will disappear, and you will understand every single you'll get an idea about what's going on, why we build tombs like that. Right away, the Pa will fly back. Until now, you got no eternity. Your Pa will fly back to the tomb. From how the Pa will get in? Through the false door we built before. We went out from the false door, and the Pa will come back from the false door. The Pa will try to recognize the deceased. So, and as soon as the Pa recognized the deceased, he will be resurrected in heaven. And Egyptians located heaven behind the moon. So that's very much actually the trip. If the Pa came back and couldn't recognize the deceased, actually no eternity. So now you understand why we built pyramids. So actually we built a fortress to keep the mummy, keep the coffin. Later on, we started to carve on the stones by architects, Egyptian architects, and huge statues. Now we understand why we built huge statues. So that's another chance, because the shape of Egyptians used to believe that the shape, not only the body, but the coffin, the mask they put on the coffin, on the mummy, and also the carving on the wall. When you see the collection of King Tut, you see his name stamped everywhere like crazy, his face everywhere. So that's a better chance for him to be recognized, and better chance to get the eternity. That's
So
very
Khalid,
much what you'll see all over Egypt, all over the museums.
sure.
So
Khalid, can I ask you, like, do you feel that what you personally have discovered is in alignment with your belief system?
yeah. Actually, as I told you, some mysteries we have no answers for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to mention something. The cemetery of Memphis used to be on the east, where God Ra will be resurrected, and the cemetery will be on the west, where the sun will start the trip, because the pharaoh will do the trip from the west with Gadra. So the cemetery of Luxor on the west, the cemetery of Memphis on the west, which is the biggest city ever built on earth until today. Memphis. Why? Memphis used to be huge on the got a wall to protect the city from the flood on the east, and on the west a huge cemetery started from Dahshur, which is way south, about say 20 some kilometers from the Great Pyramids. So from the Great Pyramids to the pyramids of the father Senefru in Dahshur, that's a huge cemetery. That's a big cemetery. So the Great Pyramid actually not different than the rest. We Egypt got 100 some pyramids, by the way, for different pharaohs in this territory. But later on, Egyptians didn't care about building big pyramids. Used to build pyramids not in shape, so destroyed. So used to care more about building temples. So
do you, Khalid, do you feel like the temples that have the pyramids, the Great Pyramids, do you feel like those are just tombs, or do you feel like they serve another purpose?
They should be related. I'm not suspicious about what they discovered. If they discovered that size, so that could be related to the trip I'm talking about. So of course I'm not denying that it could be a source of energy, or because some mysteries we don't understand until today. How they built the pyramid, the stones we built the Great Pyramid with came from the other side of the Nile, about 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers from huge hill, Muqattam Hills, down to the valley.
So how did that happen?
We don't understand. So you need to have zero gravity to do that. It's a mystery. 70 tons from a hill to the Nile, huge ships.
Do you feel like it's possible that sound or water may have something to do with how the pyramids were moved, how the stones were moved?
Some theories about that. Yeah, we try to solve it, but 70 tons, you'll move lots of. We have 2.5 million pieces of stones in that pyramid. So you move between 5 tons and 70 tons. As more you go up, you put smaller stones until you reach 5 tons the stones. So which kind of ramp? Of course, we got an idea about. We found some ramps. So which kind of ramp will hold 70 tons of stones, many of them up and down, and also which kind of ship will have this big? So all of that hidden from us. So
do you feel like there's a connection between the physical, how we move these things, and the spiritual realm? Do you feel like there is a connection between the physical and the spiritual when it comes to the pyramids and the way that they're positioned, or the way that they affect the planet? Like, do you feel like there's some sort of like something else other than we physically move these stones?
Exactly. We believe that this to have technology we don't understand today. So they could deal with the gravity of Earth. So because when you find, look, the pyramid is famous and Sphinx is famous, but nobody talk about the Valley Temple of the of the second pyramid. The second pyramid got a Valley Temple still intact today. So that's the oldest temple on Earth. Of course, that's part of my visit. That's main part of my visit.
All right, so it's been dug up, or it hasn't been dug up?
What?
It's been dug up, or it's still there? Is it
still there? It's a temple carved in the native rock and casted by huge pieces of granite brought from Aswan. Some of them actually, some of them about 70 tons and more. So still in shape, still there, and the pillars didn't move a millimeter after all the damage happened, after all the earthquake. Egypt used to have earthquakes, by the way. Every single stone in its place with a which it didn't move a millimeter. So it's the strongest structure ever built, intact until today. And it's important because it's the oldest temple for humans ever, intact. So that's a mystery until today. So Egyptians used to have a technology, or somehow used to deal some kind of energy to have zero gravity, or to lighten the gravity.
What is your theory? What is your theory?
Yeah, that's what I believe. Actually,
if you don't want to, you don't have to share it if you don't want to. But if you want to, what's your personal theory? How were they built? What happened? How? Make sense of it.
They used to be advanced in a way we can't imagine.
We don't know.
We can't imagine. Yeah. And plus, but something conflict with that. But because we know the history of building pyramids, and we know Imhotep who started all of that. After Imhotep, the country jumped, developed as a rocket. So if you consider Imhotep an alien, maybe, maybe Imhotep an alien.
Do you think that? Do you think that maybe aliens had a hand, or what we think of aliens maybe had a hand in the pyramids?
Maybe we are as humans, maybe we are aliens, by the way.
I don't know what you're laughing at.
No, I think it's a great. No, I think it's a great question.
I don't know what you're laughing at.
I just
think legit Egyptologist.
That's my point. It's like
I don't know what you're laughing
at him. Like she
which works with my studies, actually, that we are aliens. It started in Egypt.
Everything started in Egypt.
Yeah, we are aliens. For sure. Started in Egypt. That's the only solution, because and through years we lost the knowledge. Era after era, we lost the knowledge. So now we think that we are advanced. Actually, we are not that advanced as before.
Oh my God, we're all aliens.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out what we are. We're all aliens.
Yeah, there's a whole book about the
I can't. Whatever. My mind can't conceive of it right now. My mind cannot conceive
when
of
you
it.
Visit Saqqara, and when you visit Saqqara and you see how Imhotep started that, so you will get an idea about how Imhotep reached a level we couldn't before. Yeah. But actually, another theory will conflict with that, because humans started very early. And some studies saying that we are long time on Earth. But
how long? How long do you think?
As I told you, we about the huge advance, the start of the civilization, which continued until today. That's about the time of Imhotep. So that's what we are sure about it. No documents about the rest, actually.
So
we don't have documents about the rest.
If you're starting with, what years are you crediting for then? Are you saying basically less than 10,000 years for Imhotep?
No,
I mean for advanced
humans on the Earth.
No. Yeah, it's about 2,660 since Zoser. That's the start of Zoser and Imhotep, and we are working hard. Actually, when we go to Saqqara, we will talk about it. I'll show you the documents we have, and that's why we work badly in Saqqara to discover the tomb of Imhotep. That will explain for us everything. Now I want to go back to what's under the pyramid, by the way, because you asked for it. As I told you, it could be as they say. It could be as they say, but related to the trip through the underworld. So they wanna get, it's a structure source for energy using the pyramid on the top, that could be related to the trip through the underworld. Actually, some mysteries I can't explain. If you put a piece of meat in the tomb, in the coffin of King Khufu, it's a coffin. No other choice. It's a tomb, by the way. No, you can't say it is. Could be something else. It's a tomb. If you put a piece of meat in his coffin, it will not go rotten. By the way,
No way.
it will stay as it is. So for long, it will get dry. It will get dry, but never get rotten. So some source of energy, some kind of energy with that shape, especially the perial chamber. So can when you go there, actually you can feel that. You can feel that, but positive energy. You feel that a positive energy you will go through when you get
But
in
where
the
do you
room.
feel like that comes from? Where?
What? Sorry?
Where do you feel like that comes from? That feeling, that positive energy that you experience?
Around the pyramids and inside the pyramids. So I never get bored. I am there sometime every day. Yani, and I believe also. I believe in magic. Yani, yeah, I believe in magic. Egyptians are magicians. So they used to do magic. So the Egyptian magic is there. You can feel it. So which will you'll have that impact on you through the whole trip. So magic. So
It's so happy.
I love
So-
magic. This is so
they are
fun.
magicians. By the way, our books for the 3 religions talk about Egyptians as magicians. So just use magic. Hollywood movies. When you see a witch or a magician, they use sticks to do magics. So they got that from the Egyptians. The pharaoh carried 2 sticks, do the magic, control the people, control the country. With with these 2 sticks,
Nunchucks, they're just magic
with
sticks.
with that magic, actually, the civilization started. So that's what they believe. And but something, something behind that magic. It's energy. So something behind that magic. It's not just magic. I believe it's a source of energy. You can use it to control this world we live in.
Yes.
In the end of the tour, people really get really high. They believe it's me. Actually, I am just using the Egyptian
You're like,
magic.
I'm a channel, guys. Don't make a big deal about me. I'm a channel. Okay.
So I just use the Egyptian magic to have an impact on you as a tourist. So that I'm a mediator, actually. It's not me. When you finish the tour and you feel that you are amazed. To be honest, I am just using the Egyptian magic they left to us. So Egyptian. I am not just an Egyptian having a propaganda for Egypt. I am a human. Egypt belongs to the humans, by the way, not the Egyptians.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
and because sometimes
that's beautiful.
It is.
That's so all inclusive.
Well,
it's very. He said this isn't about Egyptians. It encompasses the whole world. That's
exactly.
beautiful.
So
Thank you for that. That's beautiful.
What the pharaohs left, I tell you a few things, small things.
It is beautiful.
You know that where you live, in your house, if every corner in your house is the ideas of Imhotep. Imhotep, he imitated what we have in Memphis. So he started to tile the palm trees, wood, and the ropes, and that's what you have in your bathroom: tiles, palm trees, wood, and ropes. So when you go to you see the walls of your bathroom, That's Imhotep ideas. Actually, the columns we use today, that's Imhotep ideas. So he got an idea to have a structure. He got, which is amazing. Actually, this the engineering which started perfect. He started, and when you go to the complex of Saqqara, you'll see a perfect job. He doesn't miss a millimeter from the top to the bottom. So that's he's an
How do
alien.
you how do you explain that though? How do you
He's an alien.
Okay,
So,
so that's how we explain it. So when
exactly.
we make
Yeah.
cuts that we can't explain
No
in
explanation.
stone that is too hard to cut, we say aliens did it.
He started our any architect will be amazed around Egypt and around the world today. Ideas
But
of
that's what
Imhotep.
you accredit it. That's what you say is he's an alien.
Imhotep. He should be, because I can't explain anything. Anything he did actually perfect, because everything advanced today, you can see the revolution of it. I mean the evolution of it.
Sure, sure.
So how started and how ended, but Imhotep
Mhm.
actually started perfect. So he started everything perfect. The engineering, the tools he invented, as I told you, very fine surgery tools. Why you are advanced today, especially, يعني started by, we started everything by Imhotep. But
Where did it
actually,
come
through
from?
years, through history, we lost what Imhotep started. Actually, that's why in يعني we got that back, some of that back in the 19th century. Maybe after we discovered the mysteries of the Egyptians, I don't know, but in the 19th century and the 20th century, that's the revolution, the evolution. Actually, يعني we started to to uh, to uh, to see that evolution rapid. So we lost that since the Romans. Actually, the Greeks got some. Alexander the Great occupied Egypt. Then he used what left from the knowledge from the Egyptian. He used what left to have his own empire. Then the Romans built on that. Then after the Romans, actually, the civilization ended. So we lost most of the knowledge. So we got just, يعني,
because
a
the
layer,
Romans wiped it out. That's
the
why.
top layer
Because
of
the
the
Romans
knowledge of
wiped
the
it out.
ancient Egypt. Yeah.
Right.
Then as Egypt, as we occupied, then later on we became Islamic empire. So, but we lost that actually since the Romans. When the Islamic empire took over, uh, uh, we already lost most of the knowledge. That's why some of the knowledge left to the Romans, to the Europe, or يعني, we started to have that for long years, losing this knowledge. Then we started about 200 years to develop again some of the knowledge. But what we got today, actually, we can to compare that with that advanced knowledge they used to have. They used to have it since all the kingdom. By the way, we believe that the old kingdom, the era of building the Great Pyramid, the highest civilization. That's the highest civilization we got. After the old kingdom ended, which is about 200 to 2000, 2100 BC. That's the end of the greatest civilization ever for humans. Then the country was in chaos. Then the great pharaohs, Middle Kingdom for 200 years, another chaos. Then the great pharaohs, Ramses II, King Tut, all the great pharaohs of the Hatshepsut. You will do them all in Luxor, of course. That's the era. Egypt used to be like the States today, dominating the world we live in, the highest economy. And as I told you, we used to be rich, and the middle class used to be big. So that's the glory days. Also used to be good in the language. So that's how we got all the details about those pharaohs. But that doesn't mean that they are the most advanced. By the way, the old kingdom is the most advanced, but only one thing, which is facing to solve this the mysteries they have, the language. They wasn't really good in language, so just to write only names, little sentences, and again after few years, 60, 80 years after building the Great Pyramids, all of a sudden we found the Egyptian Book of the Dead written in one of the pyramids. Not in shape at all. The pyramid, Unas pyramid, not in shape at all. But the language was
the entire book. So you found the book in its entire.
not the entire book, the start of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, but written in perfect shape until today. And
Okay.
the language was perfect. Again, a language started perfect. So we know the evolution actually. We know how things started. That's what confused us. We got a history written, but some mysteries behind that we have no answers. So I don't blame anyone say aliens who built the civilization, some source of energy we used to have. All of that could be true, but we need something written. We need discoveries. I don't blame the colleges which work in Egypt. They spend millions of dollars to do discoveries, by the way, because anyone will discover any of these mysteries, he will be in the top of the world today, because they have lots of mysteries we don't understand, like the custom of King Tut. His custom, perfect.
Right.
Forgive me to say, his underwear is perfect. He used it during his life, and he kept it in the tomb, and it's exhibited in the gym. Perfect shape. So they used to be advanced in industries, and anyone will discover how they used to have the custom intact. They will produce an intact a T-shirt. Do you hear me, or do you hear me?
Sorry about that. So sorry.
No problem. Actually, forgive me for lots of talk about.
I did not mean to do that. I fat fingered a button. I am so sorry, Khalid. I am so sorry. Where did we lose you? And you know what? Let's wrap up that thought for everyone listening, and for in the future listens. Thank you so much, because right now we are live. You have graciously blessed us with your time at it's approximately 4 a.m. now. 4:15 in the morning.
It's exactly 4:49. Yeah.
Okay. We appreciate your time so much, and we want you to have a chance to wrap up where you were, tell everybody where they can find you, and then we'd love to have you back on. But go ahead and wrap up and tell everybody where to find you.
Sure, my pleasure. Okay, so but you got all my details, right? You guys
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and we'll put those on the show notes.
Okay. Actually, I can hear you. I'm trying to hear you, but can you repeat what you said before?
Just let us know where we can find you.
Oh, I give you my email actually.
No, I meant for listeners. If you want people to go to your Facebook, we'll put that out there. But
exactly, yes, they can contact me through my Facebook. They can also join the Facebook. I do some posts actually about the most recent discoveries, and actually mainly I promote Egypt. So I'm a tour guide, so I promote my work. I do a good job, and actually, look, I have to add something. When you book through an international company, because I work for international companies, they claim that they are doing luxury tours. So of course it's luxury tour, but let's face it, you have the best of everything in the States. So you don't come here to use a five stars hotel, eat continental food. That's not a visit to Egypt. You need to have Egyptian services, luxury in nice way. So that's what I do. Actually, I like also to merge with the people. 8 hours a tour they sell for you 8 hours actually a day. Whatever you pay, if you pay whatever 20,000 or so, you spend 8 hours on your tour. That's rule. Actually, I like to spend, if you are interested, we spend the whole day from the morning to the night. If many to visit around Egypt, many to do. Part of my tour actually, which is get a huge impact on you, to do a food tour. So we have fantastic food. You'll not eat anywhere. What you have there, Lebanese restaurants, whatever. You don't have Egyptian restaurant.
No,
Why the Egyptian food is fantastic. We use lots of garlic, lots of onion, very healthy. We don't use hydrated fats. So I introduce our food through your tour also. Some
great.
challenges also when we go in a pyramid or some of the tough pyramids. That's a challenge. So actually, mainly it's historical. Too. I like also to add to the tour because it's hectic. You go from one stop to another. You walk a lot.
So
it's very interesting. So you don't feel tired.
Right.
But I like to rest in the end in the Red Sea, on the Red Sea, Sharm el-Sheikh or Hurghada. But by the way,
thank you so much. We are out of time. We appreciate the time that you've spent with us, but we are out of time. So we're
no
gonna
problem.
let you go.
If people hang in my around, with my Facebook, you will. I all of that will be there. So
absolutely, and we'll put those links in the show notes.
And we'll be talking to you again soon.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So if you'll just hang tight, we'll see you backstage. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
End stream.
Take care.
And play outro.